we were talking about this a little bit before the show. Do you feel like there's any feeling among mainstream media that you're not supposed to criticize like FEMA, people who rush into disasters, people who are like the emergency response? They're sort of protecting them in some way. They feel obligated to say nothing because they're not supposed to criticize people who are like the hero, so to speak.
Yeah. So I first off, I'll start by saying that FEMA is a disaster in and of themselves. They've always been. I mean, you look back as far as Katrina, and that's just how they are. They're not good at what they do. I mean, they have a multi-billion-dollar budget, but are still incapable of all the disasters that I've ever covered. Mayfield, Kentucky tornadoes wiped out the entire town. Okay, Eastern Kentucky flooding wiped out entire towns there too. They come in, they make big promises, and then they disappear once the media attention goes away. It's the same thing here. It's the same thing in East Palestine. They actually didn't even go to East Palestine until we forced them to go. Okay, because these people have been inundated by toxic gases. Their soil's contaminated, their water's contaminated, and finally FEMA comes in. What's happening now? Not really much. FEMA kind of backed out of the entire situation, and they're doing the same thing here. They're already starting to back out, as I said earlier, where they made all these promises of all this money for people that were economically displaced, and now they're like, well, yeah, we're not really going to do that. This is an executive branch agency. Okay, they are under the command of the President of the United States, so he has ultimate jurisdiction over FEMA. Why is he not doing more? Why is the FEMA administrator like seemingly totally inept? And funny enough, the FEMA administrator right now, her name is Deanna something, don't remember her exact name. She was in charge of New York City's COVID response as well, which was obviously, as we know, New York City had one of the most disastrous COVID responses in the country.
This is Deanne Criswell?
Deanne Criswell. Yep, she is currently the FEMA administrator. So, I mean, it's like, what is it? Why are we not taking this organization more seriously? We're talking about people's lives and livelihoods.
Is it that FEMA is only as effective as the president?
So, I mean, like I said, the president has a lot of power over FEMA. Why isn't he doing more? I'm sorry, but people's lives and livelihoods, American citizens, okay, the people that my first goal as president of the United States would be to, protect my citizens, right? And make sure that when you have this is no fault of their own, okay? The people of Lahaina did not do this to themselves, okay? So, in my opinion, the federal government should be able to, I mean, we're sending just like a couple of weeks ago, $23 billion more to Ukraine? How come we're sending, a total of, to the Lahaina residents, under $2 million in relief aid to them?
What would FEMA do? Like, I did a little Hurricane Sandy. I did some cleanup in Staten Island, and it was like flooding. So we brought water, blankets. What else would FEMA do? There's mold. Everything was molding, so they had to clear out all the moldy stuff. But like, what more? Is it just only so much that they can do, and then they're like, we were tapped out, sorry for the false hope? Or is it that they're just not doing what they can do? Like, what could they do to help these people in Lahaina?
Well, first off, they give false hope every single time. Every single time they get involved in anything, it's false hope. Okay, people see FEMA coming in, they're like, yay, FEMA. FEMA is, I mean, they're not underfunded. They have plenty of money. But, so right now, August 25th was the deadline for housing. Okay, so if you were staying with a friend, or if you were displaced by FEMA, okay, and you were staying with a friend, or not displaced by FEMA, displaced by the fire, okay, in Lahaina, you had until August 25th to do something about it, okay? If you're staying with a friend or something, and, you didn't react you have a lot on your plate. If everything everything you have is, been incinerated, they're not helping you at this point. They're not giving you anything. They're not giving you the $700. They're not paying for your hotel room. They're not doing anything. Why? Why is it we're the only people that are setting up food banks, giving people clothing, collecting goods, water, all of that? It's all being done by the community and nonprofit organizations. Every single person from Lahaina that I spoke with said the same thing. The Red Cross is useless. FEMA is useless. They don't even try. Okay, they have to go to individual community organizations.
That's always how it is.
Yeah, which is sad. What do we pay taxes for?
Well, modern monetary theory suggests that to control for inflation, they need to take money out of the economy because as they just mass print it and use it for wars at their own discretion,
Right.
then that leads to inflation problems in the underlying economy. So they'll use taxes to pull that money back out.
Yep.
There you go.